This is the Tissot PRX Chronograph and is, as you know, the name gives it away, the chronograph variant of the extremely popular Tissot PRX POWERMATIC 80, one of the best watches you can currently get below the $1,000 price range. I know I have been on a social media break, but I couldn't stop myself from sneaking some, Insta and YouTube sessions in, and from what I can tell, a lot of you really wanted me to talk about this watch, and this is what I'm coming back with. And mainly about the following questions I'm going to cover in this video today, like, does this sit way too high up for a chrono, or is it too big in general? How is the overall quality of this watch? What movement is built inside? Is it as good as the regular PRX 80 POWERMATIC? And what about the price value proposition on this? So in this video, I'm going to answer all of these and many more questions, and I'm also going to spill the tea on what I like and dislike about the watch. So at the end of this video, you will know exactly whether or not this is a good purchase for you. So let's get started. So the first thing I will start with is something most of you wanted to know, and those are the hard facts. So the measurements and how this Tissot wears and feels. So does it sit too high up? Is it too chunky for the IBWC? Does it wear differently compared to the regular PRX 80 POWERMATIC? Well, this Tissot PRX chronograph is an automatic chrono with a date, a sapphire crystal, and a water resistance of 100 meter. There are two colorways, a classic blue dial and a panda-like variant with a white dial and black subdials. It has a diameter of 42 millimeter, a height of 14.45 millimeter, and it weighs 184 grams. The lug to lug is a bit tricky to measure, I think. Tissot states a lug to lug of 41.5 millimeter, but that only covers the distance without including the integrated bracelet, which I would say is still part of the case, so it should be considered when talking about the lug to lug. So for me, this one has a lug to lug of 46.5 millimeter. This makes this Tissot PRX not only heavier, but also significantly bigger than its standard non-chrono dad, which, with its diameter of 40 millimeter, isn't a small watch either. So this shouldn't come as a surprise that this watch wears bigger on the wrist and just, overall looks way chunkier. So for whom is this the ideal size? Well, I would say that ideally you would need a wrist circumference of about 175 millimeter and more to give the watch enough space on your wrist. But since this is a way sportier looking chrono, I could also see people with smaller wrists being able to get away with it. So let's say about the 170 millimeter mark, as long as you like the bigger look on yourself. For everyone measuring below the 170 millimeter, I would recommend looking for smaller chronos. So yeah, if you're on the smaller side, I would say you should definitely try this one on before committing to it, so you won't get disappointed by the look of it. Right, let's talk about the next important part, the overall quality. How well is it made, and what about the quality to it? Is it comparable to other watches within the same price segment, up to $2,000? The regular PRX with its price tag of just below $1,000 is, given the price, seriously impressive and easily wins against other even more expensive watches, which is pretty cool if you ask me. So therefore, I can totally understand why so many wanted to know if the chrono follow-up to this is holding up to the quality of whether or not Tissot might have, I don't know, run out of breath for this release. But hey, here's the good news. It is just as good as the PRX 80 POWERMATIC. The entire case mixes satin with polished finishes and is as well made as the integrated bracelet. Thankfully, there are no compromises in terms of quality between the case and the bracelet, something some people have been worried about. So what you get is another quick change option on the bracelet, but unfortunately no quick adjustment on the clasp. Said butterfly clasp makes a solid impression and it gets the job done. The dial is also pretty neat, though this time we don't get a delicious waffle-like texture we know from the regular PRX, but this time it has these vertical lines which remind me a bit of the Railmaster from Omega, and I have to say that I really like it. It's something different. Anyways, the subdials on the blue dial are white and we get black subdials on the white dial version. Nice contrast in colors, but no groundbreaking color schemes there. The hour markers are applied, and the date between 4 and 5 o'clock has the same little border and line-like texture. Overall, I gotta say that this watch feels good. The generously sized pushers are nice to press down and easy to grab. So all in all, I would say that for that money, you get solid quality, slightly below watches from Tudor or Omega, but nothing that would ever, bother you or feel cheap. Oh, and so for everyone out here who wants to actually buy this watch, I can totally recommend checking out my fellow YouTuber's online shop, Teddy Baldassar, on teddybaldassar.com. I'm sure many of you know who he is. And there you can get this Tissot PRX Chrono if you want to. They are situated in the US, but they also ship worldwide. So make sure to check out the link to this watch in my description box down below. Right, let's talk about point number 3, the movement. Which movement did they use this time, and what about its accuracy? What we find inside of this chrono is an automatic Valjoux A05H31 caliber. It is based on a Valjoux 7753 and is an automatic chrono movement with a, chrono function, so you can stop the time and measure the elapsed time, and a date function sitting right between 4 and 5 o'clock. Here's a little catch I'm sure you'd be very interested in to know, because this one can only be set by using the pusher on the side of the case, but not the crown. The power reserve will last you for about 60 hours though. Given previous user experiences, you can say that it runs with an accuracy of, about ±4 to ±7 seconds per day, which is totally fine for a watch within that price segment. I would say it's comparable to an ETA movement, so easy to service with a reliable reputation. Just like with the PRX, you can see it working away through the exhibition case bag. And let me tell you, I was a bit disappointed with the PRX given the look, of the movement, but the chrono has me surprised in the most positive way here. It's really cool to see that Tissot release another really stunning watch within a price range that is borderline, objectively rather affordable. Okay, let's get to the highly debatable part. How does it perform compared to other watches? Lots of you wanted to know if it compares to other similar watches like the Tudor Royale, for example. More importantly, is it living up to the fame and popularity of its predecessor? Like I said, with a price tag of almost $2,000, it is significantly more expensive than, the in-house Gentleman or the PRX POWERMATIC 80. And also looking at a Tudor Royale, it's not too far away price-wise. Therefore, a lot of you wanted to know if the price premium is justified compared to the PRX, or if it wouldn't be the better idea to, wait a bit, save a bit more, and then go directly to something like a Tudor Royale, for example. But let me say this right away. The comparison in itself isn't a fair one to begin with, since the PRX chronograph is a chrono and the Royale is just a classic, freehand like the previous PRX. So it is a bit like comparing apples and oranges. But I have to say, and please don't stone me for that, I personally like the chrono far better in terms of finishing and design compared to the Tudor Royale. And compared to the PRX POWERMATIC 80, I would say that it looks and feels just as good. So overall, I would say that if you're looking for a very versatile watch that is going to work in all kinds of situations and still look good, I would go for a PRX POWERMATIC 80. But if you are the more sportier type and look for a watch to emulate that, the chrono would be the cooler choice, because with this one you basically get one of the best chronos within the 2K price segment. If you were to look for something comparatively better, you would have to look far beyond the 2K range. Okie dokie, let's get to the last point of today's video, and it is going to cover the overall pricing or price development. Is it worth the money, or more specifically, what is the price value proposition with this one? And before I get into this, let me quickly explain why I think this is always an important part when it comes to buying a watch, because I know that some people out there are already rolling their eyes back into their heads. But in case you do not have an endless amount of money, it is smart to think about future resale value of watches within your collection, simply because you can, reinvest it into new watches. That's always a win. To keep your collection, exciting and updated if you wish to do that. Sometimes tastes or requirements change, and it's always nice to know that you paid, just the best price for something, so you can have some peace of mind when wearing and enjoying your watch. Right, now I got that off my chest. That felt very important for me to say. Let's continue with the price and value of the PRX Chrono here, with a retail price of $1,750, and it being rather new. There aren't many pre-owned watches out there to buy yet, so it's a bit tough to give an estimate. And since this is already a steep price for a Tissot, many wanted to know if it's even worth it or not. And I have to say that, yeah, I really do believe that it is worth its money given all the things you get with this watch. It feels great, it is well made with a reliable movement and a really attractive design on top of it. And you have a chrono that's 100-meter water resistant. But yeah, when it comes to value development and how well it is going to resell if you change your mind and look for something different in the future, I would have to guess and say that you could, I guess, expect to get about 70% or 80% of your initial money back when selling it. So this isn't something you should really be banking on. But if you love how it looks and what it can do for you, then I do not see a problem making that choice and going for the PRX Chrono. Okay, so now that we have talked about the 5 most important points, I quickly want to highlight my own personal likes and dislikes about this watch. First of all, I really like the overall package deal that you get, and especially the decorated movement is something I'm a big fan of. And I think it's totally valid to refer to this one as a luxury watch given the quality, design, and the overall feel of it. The only thing that puts me off is the setting of the watch. Not using the crown feels weird, and yeah, don't get me started about the sizing or measurements, but that's highly subjective anyways, and it's not the watch's fault that I have tiny wrists. And so here you have it, 5 points and everything you need to know before purchasing the Tissot PRX Chronograph. Now you know exactly what to look out for, you know how big it really is, what the overall quality looks like, which movement beats inside, and if it keeps up with the previous hit from Tissot, the POWERMATIC 80, as well as how it might look like in the future in terms of resale value. If you haven't had enough of really great watches from Tissot, I recommend clicking here to check out my review about the POWERMATIC 80 I've talked about so much in this video. Or perhaps you'd like to check out something a bit more controversial, in which case you should definitely click here as well. As always, thank you so much for watching this video today. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and definitely make sure to leave a comment down below on what you want to see next on this channel. And I would also recommend subscribing to my channel so you do not miss out on any new videos. And that's it for today. Thank you so much, and until next time, bye. Outtakes. Okay, oh my god.